back to SaltyGillz.
Dockside 9.
Dockside? No way.
Welcome back to the podcast, folks.
It is beginning of November. We're a little behind on these, been trying to do them every month, but live, and then trying to actually, the weather windows we've been given to fish and just the way that everything else rolls out. So, welcome back. It is what have we even done this last month? You haven't been here a whole lot.
I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, I missed out a little bit. Just life events and everything else. But
I think you came down south with us.
Since the last Dockside, we went offshore, right? Or did we do a Dockside? Hard to remember.
Oh no, we went offshore.
We got Katie and Nick on Swordfish.
To Kaylee's parents. Has it been that long?
No, it hasn't
been that long.
My life moves quickly.
Yeah, I know. Well, October moved really fast.
Yeah, it moved really fast.
September.
I think we took Katie and Nick out.
Yeah.
Katie caught her first swordfish and her first billfish.
Yeah, and we got our
tilefish, barrel fish.
Yeah.
Our first barrel.
Yep, first barrel.
Which I caught so much slack that trip over barrel fish.
You gotta go here. There's tons of barrel fish.
Got some info. There was some barrel fish.
Nothing.
No barrel fish. I think we caught some rosies or something. What did we catch? Caught some weird
I
stuff.
don't even know if we caught it.
We caught a little barrel. No, we caught a little barrel.
Did we?
A little tiny barrel. Okay, they put the picture up and hold him like this.
Looked strange.
I think he's a little barrel.
Right.
And then we stopped. We went sword fishing. Caught a swordfish. All worked out.
Yeah.
How it's supposed to. That was the quickest fight.
It was. To date, that was the quickest fight we've had.
Oh yeah, it was
And
just Katie
that
and I
fish
on the reel.
murdered the bait too.
Yeah,
it
it did.
was such a weird bite because he murdered it, started stripping drag right away. We're like, oh, this.
No, he hit it the first time and you were watering the dog.
Yeah, I completely missed the dog.
Not giving the dog water like most people would. Ryan's up there spraying water in the dog's face out of the water bottle.
I was dripping the water bottle.
Yeah. He's watering the dog.
Your dog. Let's caveat that too.
It's our dog.
She's a plant.
It's our dog. So he's up there watering the dog. I'm sitting in the captain's chair. And I just, out of the corner of my eye, I watched the whole rod just go bang. And I'm like, that was a hit. And Ryan goes, I didn't see it, unverified. Like we normally do. I think Nick saw it too. And we were talking about how they're going to be these little taps, these little bites, and this one just slams it. Then left it alone. Think we dropped it once on him.
Yeah,
I think we teased that fish.
We kind of teased that fish.
And then
because we weren't having to motor around but the last 3, 4, or 5 trips we've been having to kind of bump troll it a little bit.
Yeah.
That time we were slow. So
we were almost having to drive the bait a little bit.
Because I think switching gears a little bit, we talked about this before when we're bump trolling it, that it almost teases them because we're moving around, the bait's moving up and down.
Well, because as the boat's drifting faster than the bait's moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we can explain this a little bit if you're not familiar with how the offshore stuff works. Is as the bait's staying here and the boat's drifting this way, you're kind of pulling the bait up just a little bit.
Right.
And then as we bump back towards the bait,
it drops back down.
It drops the bait back down.
Yeah.
So normally when we start to get hit, we'll bump back into the bait, drop the bait, and like you said, we're doing it already. On a day like we had with Katie and Nick, you're not able to do that. So we dropped it. He came back. He whacked it one more time, gently, and then committed. And then I think me and you had our normal discussion of when is it right to set the hook. And he went slack. Or he didn't go completely slack, but he started to unload the rod.
Yeah, he unloaded the rod.
I made the decision to jump him right there. And when I came tight, he went back down.
Yeah, that's when we both were like, oh gosh.
And we're only so far off the bottom. He went all the way back to the bottom.
Yeah. And
we were completely tight. Here you go, Katie.
Well, we were both like, this might be a big fish because the way he was acting right away.
That's a good sized fish.
And man, he came straight up
to
the point where I'm in the back getting stuff ready like I normally do, going, I got 15, 20, 30 minutes before we would see this fish. And putting gas where they need to be, tail ropes where they need to be. The next thing.
Well, I think Nick was even on the wheel.
Was like,
well, she said wind on.
I'm like, what?
Nick was on the wheel because I was trying to help Katie with that fish. And she says, wind on. I look down. So I went and grabbed the gaff like we normally would. Pull it to us a little bit. Take the satch weight off. Unclip it. And it's still slack. And normally, even as you're driving on that fish, you keep him tight because we're moving forward as we go to take that weight off to keep pressure on the fish. It was still slack. And I looked down and that fish is still coming straight up. He never stopped. After that initial pull, he never stopped coming up.
Yeah.
Thank God for the owner Jobu hooks, because that thing was in his bone.
Buried.
Those Jobu hooks.
Yeah.
Let's get into that for a second, though. Fighting these fish, everything aside, I think we've switched, except for jig heads inshore. I think we've completely made the switch to owner hooks.
Pretty much.
Because when we were snapper fishing, we were using those owner Jobu circle hooks.
We're using the owners for snapper.
Owner, if you're watching, send us some more hooks.
Yeah, y'all's stuff it's good.
Yeah.
Look, if it's good and I'm paying for it, it is what it is in my eyes.
The only thing we haven't done, or I haven't done, is I still have some other hooks on my trolling lures, but as those go bad,
we're subbing them out.
Because they definitely, I think I'm famous for saying it, those owner hooks don't come out even when you want them to come out.
Mm-hmm. No.
I have a video of us trying to take that hook out of the swordfish mouth, and we were like, well, let's have to do it later.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
It's going to be a bit, but yeah, that thing.
But a testament to those owner hooks. I mean, it's one thing to say that a hook that weighs almost a pound, like those swordfish hooks are heavy. I don't know how much they weigh,
a pound,
but they're heavy, right? And it's thick material, and you're not too worried about it. But a testament to owner is like these two snapper videos y'all are fixing to see. I don't know if you put this in there or not, but when you bury one of those hooks in a snapper's mouth, it's non-debatable. You're using pliers.
Yeah.
And then the way that you're twisting and turning that hook, trying to get it out, and you start to get frustrated with it, they don't bend, they don't lose their shape. The only thing I'll say about those owner hooks is that if you catch a ton of fish on them, like those snapper, and you start wrenching on them with the pliers, you take the coating off, and if you don't rinse them perfectly, they'll start to rust.
Yep.
But we caught, there's 2 days worth of snapper on mostly the same hooks. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Those hooks the snapper hooks are probably about 75 cents to $1 a piece. But they don't bend, they don't lose their shape. You don't have to worry about them breaking. We're sitting there in state water, so it's shallow, and those fish are running. I'm putting my thumb all the way on the reel. I have 150 down there on the snapper. I'm stopping them. I never have to worry about them bending, snapping.
Yeah.
That's one thing with the Mustad hooks and there's another brand, the Gamakatsus. The Gamakatsus, I've snapped on snapper before. Stopping fish and then trying to get it out of their mouths, they'll start to deform. They're just not as...
Because I'm pretty much I was a Gamakatsu dude for snapper. I still have them. I think they're good hooks. But I don't know if I've ever broken one. But
I've broken
Do they make owner for inshore?
Not jig heads. Those circle hooks that we're using, if you look at the gauge of wire, they make different gauges. Like you can use owners.
Yeah, owner has several different circle hooks.
And they're all under different things. They have owner reef hooks. Right. They have owner.
Right. That's what I was trying to think of all the names.
Owner. The ones that we use for swordfish are the big game series. Mm-hmm. The reef series is what we're using for snapper, grouper, everything like that. They're completely legal. They're certified. They're a non-offset, straight circle hook. And then they make a squid hook that's like a gnarly J hook.
They have a
is
big
basically
selection.
what
You
it
go on
is.
their website. There's all kinds of hooks.
And I'll say this: a lot of our stuff, you can kind of pinpoint and see where stuff is at compared to like your local tackle shop. Those owner hooks cost the same at Roy's they do on Amazon or anywhere else. And you can actually go in there, see what they have. Roy's has a massive selection.
Yeah. Every now and again, I'll see them on Amazon for, somebody has them on there for sale.
Yeah.
Usually it's a different part of the country, and maybe they don't use them or sell them as much, so they'll drop them down, and a lot of times I gobble them up if I see them on there for cheaper. But yeah,
I forget.
Price pretty much everywhere.
I think I ran into an East Coast guy in Texas, and he showed up with those owner hooks, and I'd seen him in Hawaii. And they were talking about those owner hooks. And once he told me, I don't know which, I think they were using mustads on the East Coast. They're catching all the bluefin on them.
Yeah.
And he had told me they were breaking at the midpoint of the shaft. So where the shaft goes from straight, or the straighter part on the shank, but on a circle hook, it's not really the shank. But that straighter part, they were breaking at if you're looking at the hook like this, they were breaking right here at the crease.
Yeah.
And he told me those bluefin were getting them in their mouth. And when they would roll, that roll, if the bar was all the way through, would roll, catch. And that's where the mustads were snapping right there. They switched to the Jobus. They stopped having that problem. They started to realize they were breaking crimps and stuff now. Because they weren't having to worry about the hook. And now they were having to worry about other parts of their gear. We luckily never went through that because everything else was pretty good. We weren't having major problems with hooks. We're not fighting 1,000-pound, bluefin.
Running all over the
But in our own way, for the size of tackle, we're straining it in the same way. An 18-pound snapper in 80 feet of water, that's a vicious fish. You're trying to keep it out of a hole. You're trying to keep it from running you into structure.
We break 80, and even, I think you said you broke
I broke 120 or 150 this weekend.
I routinely break off 80, crimp to 80 too.
Yeah, like crimped. I mean, we don't even tie stuff anymore. And all that crimp does is it distributes the stress in a more even way than a knot does. I mean, you can tie 100.
Crimped and swedge too. Like we take those as serious as we take the swordfish stuff. So.
Oh,
what do
yeah.
you think you could drop down? What else could you drop down? Like, I know that when we drop the squids down, obviously they're lighting up because of that light. What else do you think you could drop down that they would hit? Anything?
For what?
Swords. Well, we tried.
Michael Kubeka dropped a rattlesnake.
Yeah. Some experimental rattlesnake here. I mean, it just looks like an eel though. But we threw down some eels that one trip, right?
We've done the eel thing. They're hard to get here though.
Yeah, they are hard to get.
What else do you think you could drop down?
I think some of that small barrelfish that we caught, because I think that's what we're seeing in some of those stomachs or those.
Do you think it's because they reflect? Because that little barrelfish had like almost holographic skin.
I'm not trying to be mean, but I think you're overthinking it. They're giant catfish with swords on their face.
Yeah,
they're gonna eat anything, and I think we've seen even from the small ones, they'll eat something they shouldn't. I mean that we've seen squid like this come out of babies.
Well, they get so ticked off at things down there too. Like I don't know. It's we don't understand a whole lot about swordfish because obviously they live down deep, but it's like something gets in their lair and they're just like, whack, get that out of here.
I think you could drop down anything you wanted. I think a factor though that maybe you don't think through on the rigging side, keeping it from spinning.
Well, I think the guys in Florida drop down bonita strips or,
I'm not, but she's talking about, like, you said something about dropping down a baby barrelfish. That thing's going to spin down there. It's going to do this.
Yeah.
You would have to find something that would, like,
you have to find something that's streamlined, like something that you could troll. I mean, you can troll bonita strips. You can troll eels. You can troll squid.
No, I agree with that.
I mean, those squid, when you put that squid next to the boat, it doesn't spin. It does this.
I've wondered if you send down there something like menhaden, oily, greasy, if that would make a difference, if they smell it more, or I don't know.
As the person who rigs squid for all of our swordfish adventures, they got plenty of nasty stuff in them.
Or what did we catch last weekend that we were using for the snapper? Oh, Spanish mackerel.
They drop Spanish in Florida.
Yeah.
Really?
But you control a Spanish because you can limber it up and salt brine it, and it stays limber. It does this down there. You control it. You can pitch bait Spanish.
There's that one lure that's out there too. It's like a long eel, like a plastic. People drop plastic.
Who is that does that?
That's a guy in Florida. I don't know. I can't remember the name of that lure either.
We have one of those.
But they triple rig it.
Yeah.
I just don't think. Here's my problem. We already hand crank. We already go out there in a boat that's not much smaller than other people's boats, but I mean, there's a lot bigger boats out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we're already doing that make our life hard enough. The last thing I want to do is drop down a lure for a swordfish.
I'd be interested see what it does.
Yeah, I just
we're so ingrained in what we do.
Well,
It works.
My
That's
problem
the thing.
too, though, is why are you putting yourself at more of a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Like, we're already hand cranking. We're I'm not going to say one of the only boats, but the majority of people who go out there, electric reels. They're running LPs, they're running big Tanacoms. You're fixing to see these new pins on the market. Look, our life's hard enough as it is.
Pin saying, don't swordfish with those for what it's worth.
That's what they said?
Yeah, I don't think they want people swordfishing with it.
Are they worried about the gears because they're too compact? Is it like the accurate reel?
Yeah.
That accurate reel made me so sad. I love the Talica.
It caught a lot of fish.
Yeah.
But the accurate caught a lot of fish, but the disappointments and the failures. I mean, that thing went back and forth to the shop 3 times. To the point where we destroyed it so bad, they sent it back to accurate and they sent me a new one.
Bad gearing and all that.
But they catch big ass yellowfin on it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just all the ups and
Do the
downs.
yellowfin fight different though?
Yeah.
No, they fight.
They fight.
But like up, down,
Pull out a drag.
crank hard.
I think it's just, if you think about it, I mean, if you drop down to 1,800 feet over and over and over again, how many yellowfin do you catch that are at that depth over and over again? Not that depth, but like how many yellowfin can you catch before it equals a swordfish?
Yeah, I knew you were going with that because I'm doing it in my head going out,
10?
You're live baiting for yellowfin at a rig. You're not dropping that.
30 feet from the boat.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit deeper.
And they run, and then you pin them on drag, and they start doing circles.
So there's got to be an equivalency somewhere there.
Like 10 or 15 of them. So we caught a 200 yellowfin on that reel if you look at it like that. Well, yeah, then the life of the reel's great. You send it in to get rebuilt. But you got to think how much more stress is on that thing than.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally just sitting there holding 10 pounds on descend.
Yeah.
At least 10 pounds. I mean, we're fishing 5 and then 8, so 13 pounds. The ditch weight's 8.
6 to 8, depending on which one we throw on there.
So yeah, you're looking at 11 to 13 pounds on the drag going down. Then you come up, you sit there, you hold it for however long. Hopefully not very.
Yeah. Well, and so even keep up that theme. So after that, we went and caught some more tilefish, and then we've kind of been, folks, we're kind of geeky about our. Not really geeky is not the right word. We're very precise in what we do. So we're always analyzing, hey, what's our technique? Did we do it the right way? Is there a better way to do it? So after we caught those tiles, we've been catching good tiles, but kind of went back and revisited.
We've had some good tiles.
Yeah, well, but just revisited our technique. So I think we had gone away from using a light on tilefish. We when we first started, we were clipping a light in there. And for the last few.
Well, you just do what you're taught.
Yeah. So I think
we got away from the light and it helped. And then I think we went. I don't know what happened to our 3-pound weights, but we went from a 3-pound weight to a 5-pound weight.
Didn't we? Something happened with.
Yeah, we went from a 3-pound weight to a 5-pound weight. Now I'm leaning towards, or we both, is cannonballs because the 3-pound stick weight is getting stuck in the mud.
Which I think is okay. That's actually what I was looking back on it. I went and did some research, talked to some people and all that. So I think where we're going, and when we do this again, is probably put a light back on there. But if you watch a lot of the guys that do a lot more tile fishing, they actually say, hey, let that thing sit on the bottom. So when it goes down, let it release, but then let it sit there and then drift away.
That's where the lay flat rig comes in.
Well, but we've kind of been dragging it, and they're actually just letting it sit on the bottom. And so that may be a change in our technique that we need to do is go. Hey,
we fight so much current though.
We also talked about that 5-pound weight instead of that 3-pound weight. We think that 5-pound weight was scaring this fish.
I think it was too much.
I think it was too.
But I think you got to go to a cannonball, I think, because it's going to drag the bottom better.
Yeah.
And then if you go to that lay flat rig, like what we've been using.
Yeah. When you say cannonball,
so I think you'll see us
that weight that we have at the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll see us do. We're gonna make some changes in our setup for tiles and grouper and everything else. But that's the other thing too.
We got to get better at the grouper.
The elusive can't find those yellow edge. I don't know how their population is out here. See people catch them, but there's one boat that catches a lot of them, a lot of nice ones, almost on demand. So that's one of the challenges we have left is let's go find some yellow edge.
And the barrelfish. We want to find more barrelfish. That barrelfish was so good.
Yeah, it was really
I
good.
didn't have any, but I'll take your word for
I
it.
think we offered you a fillet and you didn't have your food saver and you. Let's go to something completely tricky and different and everything else. We went down to Mansfield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I said, man, I haven't been down to Mansfield in a while. You hadn't been down there.
I haven't
ever.
Been down there.
But we went down to Mansfield, left out of Bird Island super early. About 90% of the way there, just started to see the sun and everything. It's a beautiful run.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
If you have the capabilities to make that run from Bird Island to the south end of the land cut into Mansfield, do it. It's great running through the cut. It's a great cruise, honestly. You see a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But we get down there, and the beginning of that Mansfield video, y'all don't see all of it. I'm sitting there and I'm contemplating on my life decisions right now. Because we've been fishing Baffin, we've been fishing the King Ranch shoreline, we've been fishing Yarborough, we've fished some in the land cut. The water clarity difference.
It was so
when we get to Mansfield, I'm like, I'm not even sure I have lures for this.
Yeah.
And we're all going through, right? Like, we went from having 80 bags of lures for any scenario to like, okay, we're down to like 5 colors that may work. So you pull up to a spot you haven't been to in a long time. You pull up to a spot, the water's completely different. It's a high pressure, no cloud day. You got to make every single bite count.
No wind. There was
no wind, slick, calm. But we were still successful because we went back to the basics. We went back to the basics of finding fish, finding the right bait, finding the strings of bait, and finding structure that the fish can live on. And then you start applying what lures are working. We're all talking the whole time. We all start off with different lures. I think we stayed mostly with the lures that I stayed with the same lure I chose the whole day.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I changed it.
I stayed on that Little John all
That's right, you stuck
day.
in the Little John. I didn't know you were throwing that.
I changed because my
I told you I was
tail.
throwing it.
No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. I put it on in the boat. You're like, what are you throwing? I said, this.
I changed only because my tail got bitten off.
Yeah. But you have those communications. You have to find the fish first.
Yeah.
But sometimes finding the fish, I mean, that's half of it. We found the bait, but there was too much bait.
Yeah, there's bait everywhere.
So then you got to find bait that's kind of around structure. So you quickly looking at Google Earth, right? You're kind of strolling through and you're looking at your GPS map. You're trying to find where a break in the depth is, this, that, the other, and it's
we found
a thing.
shoreline that had there was bait all up and down that shoreline, just jumping, and then there was a boat every 5 feet. There was a boat.
Yeah,
They were all soaking croaker, a whole line of boats. For like 5 miles.
What, 200 yards?
Yeah, there
closer
was
than that, dude.
For
They were
miles, it was
close.
Boat. It's like, do we squeeze in there or not? And
It was one of those things. We found the fish really early in the morning. It was a great thing. We were successful. It's always great to go somewhere and be like, damn.
Yeah.
But no, once you find that bait, once you find them, look, we were the first ones down there, and then we ended up in a spot that no one else was in. Bite kind of slowed down.
Well, then that one dude drove up right on top of us too.
Burned us. Once that bite slowed down, though, we got this magical idea, like, hey, let's go discover some more areas with fish. Didn't work. Once that bite stopped, it stopped.
We found a place to scoot up on the bank there. There was like a little hole.
I caught one fish like the first cast.
You jump out, you catch one fish. We're like, oh, okay, but there's the standard first fish curse.
Yeah.
and that happened to us when we were in Alizon too. We stopped in that one spot. I jump out, catch first cast fish, and then nothing else.
Which one was that?
When we after we caught all those fish at that first spot, we moved over.
Went across.
Up and in a little bit, but then we came back and stopped at the cliffs a little bit more, and so up shallow.
Yeah,
I caught 1 or 2 fish.
But that was another really high pressure, weird weekend. It's like the only reason we were moving was because the bite slowed down.
Yep.
But it wasn't the bite just slowed down where we were. It slowed down everywhere.
Yeah, everybody's up and motoring and looking around.
But those high pressure weekends, I think, let's get into that. Is I think we learn more and become better fishermen on those weekends. It's just inherent. You have to become better when the fishing gets tough. And when it's high pressure, when there's not a cloud in the sky, when it's slick calm,
yeah, those are tough.
you have to become a better fisherman. Then you add in a high tide or a weird moon phase or anything like that. You have to become a better fisherman. And every single one of those days that you get handed, if you can walk away from that semi-successful or halfway successful or even just super successful, you have to remember exactly what you did on those days. You're going to apply it to the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to put that in the memory bank. Write it down if you need to. Keep a log. Go, hey, this is what it was. This is what I did. So you can look back. And nowadays with the technology, you make that sortable. You get there and go like, hey, it's high pressure. It's this, and look at all your notes. You go, I did this, and it worked. So and just repeat that.
Yeah, I mean, I think. What's your go-to when that bite gets tough? Like, what's your lure? Are you going soft dine? I know you don't go Little John. You never throw a Little John.
No, I threw a Little John.
When
was that? I threw a Little John.
Okay.
I think I switched to, just for a little while, I switched to Little John in Amazon that one day.
Did you? Because I know
I did, because it was day 2 or day 3 when they were short striking it. You were getting all those stumps and we weren't catching anything. I went to the Little John to see if that would kind of help out, but I didn't get any.
Because I know for me, you just go to a rat tail.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that Little John. You haven't figured out how to make that thing work yet.
I have used it a couple times, but I just like the smaller, because like the base of those rat tails, like slot lures or the coastal rebaits, they're smaller like a Little John, but then they have that action on the tail that kind of almost, like, what do you call it, like a predatory bite, just to like piss them off almost.
Yeah, I used to be a big on like I'm gonna piss them off with the top water.
Yeah.
And I still go that way sometimes. If there's a sudden change to me, like if we go from like windy to like that front hits
Pre-front, yeah.
at 9 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
I'll switch over to that top water. Or like a storm comes in, it slicks out, it rains.
Right.
I'll switch over to that top water and it works. But I've started resorting more towards long-term changes. So like if you have high pressure like 1 or 2 days in a row, I've started to resort more towards a soft dine.
Yeah, you used to fish a lot more soft dine, yeah.
I fished a lot of soft dine this summer when things were long-term weird. But if it's a short-term weird, like if it's the fish were really biting good in the morning, it was cloudy, it was overcast, and then all of a sudden everything cleared up and we went high pressure, that's when I'll go to that Little John.
Yeah, I got off the soft dine. This is that one day we were out there. It was just weed city, and I started getting ticked off with the weeds.
That's a big factor too.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I got off the top water, and I started using it in a different way. Is we experienced so much weedage. That works.
It's a word.
We experienced so much weedage throughout the summer and the late summer that it was almost impossible to fish at top water. It got real hard to fish a soft dime, but you could do it. But that Little John was good.
I'm bad about the soft dines because I don't pay for them, and so then every time I get them hung on a rock,
Yeah.
Pop,
That takes me back
$20.
to the video.
and I get yelled
Remember that
at.
video where I caught that trout,
Yeah.
hold him up, bink, and he swims off. I'm like, but there goes $15.
$16.99.
Yeah.
$16.99.
Bye.
They well, it's funny too is getting into soft dine or lures is you hear it so often. I walked into Roy's, was talking with some people and saw me grabbing some soft dines. They're like, man, it's pretty early for soft dines. Just stocking up early. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm stocking up early because in about a month, y'all are all gonna go in there and buy everything up, and poor Robbie is gonna be backlogged and not have any lures for anyone and have to wait for him to get put back up. So I go in there and stock up a little bit, but also I've been using them all summer.
Yeah, you've been on them
And
a little bit.
I heard some things like, man, I've never done very good on the soft dines, this, that, the other. Let's be real honest. Like, Colton Blackwell, he's done such a good job marketing coastal broodbaits. There's a lot of lures that are just like Colton's. There's a lot of lures that are just like Gambler. There's a lot of lures that are just like Down South. Everyone makes a lure. Are you a soft dine person, or are you a mirror lure hard dine? You know, the hard plastic.
Right.
In my opinion, and let's go to like where Colton's at. They created a company. They wanted it to be successful, and they use social media to do that. If you catch a big fish with these lures, we're gonna post you. We're gonna share your success. So you have people that are kind of like wanting to be on Instagram, or maybe they are actually catching fish on those lures. But for me, if you ask somebody what their favorite lure is, or what lure do you catch the most fish on, they're gonna tell you a lure. Their favorite lure, or the fish they catch, the lure they catch the most fish on, is gonna be the lure they throw the most.
Absolutely, yeah.
Chad Petterick's gonna tell you Down Souths. That's what he pushes his clients to throw. They're easy to work. They have great action. They have a great motion through the water, and they throw up long ways.
Yep.
He used to be a Gambler guy, but Down Souths caught more fish per lure because it's a harder plastic. So he went from Gambler to Down South. Chad Petterick catches a lot of big fish on Down South. He used to catch a lot of big fish on Gambler. A lot of people catch a lot of fish on a corky floater and not a soft dine because people use them in the same way. I don't like the corky floater. I catch a lot more fish on a soft dine.
Yeah.
It's what you throw the most and put the most time into. You're going to understand how to work it better, how to change the way that it works.
You know, if you think about it, maybe a particular lure matches your particular fishing style better.
Yep.
You know, how you reel, how you pop, you know.
Absolutely.
And the lure might actually fit you better than...
Just based upon the way that you work the rod. It has a lot to do, too, with your rod and reel setup.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lures, depending on whatever rod I have in my hand, that I'm not going to work as effectively as if I go and get a different rod.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality. Your winter rods are probably different than your summer rods.
It'd be interesting to see, like, to do sort of a test of flexibility on the rod tip, what the lure does, what it looks like, you know, how much you're...
Oh, I've done it. That green and black rod I have does not work Fat Boy.
Yeah.
It'll work soft dine, does not work Fat Boy. But also, it's just how it throws it, everything else. I mean, there's just lures I don't want to throw.
Yeah.
With certain rods. Kaylee has a pretty in the middle rod. It could be more sensitive for soft plastics. It could be a lot stiffer for Fat Boys, but we don't throw very many Fat Boys. We just don't get that. We have a lot of success with soft dines.
Yeah.
So we don't throw Fat Boys as much. Now there's a time and a place for them, but our water warms up too quick. I mean, we very rarely see that water really in a position where we throw Fat Boys. There's times and place for it. We had 2 trips last year, maybe we threw Fat Boys. Real success was on soft dines. Just how it worked out.
Yeah.
Before we get into lure fantasy, we're heading to South Padre for a week. In 1 week, we're heading to South Padre for a week. Actually, a little over a week.
By the time you see this, we'll probably have...
We'll be in South Padre.
Or yeah, we'll be in South Padre.
I won't be there.
Ryan won't be there. But Kaylee's never caught snook.
1 year of marriage.
Going to fish. Kaylee's never caught snook. She's never caught tarpon. I haven't been down to South Padre in a real long time. So why not go down there, get completely immersed in something I haven't done in a very long time. And me and you were talking about it, is just trying to show y'all, we know our area. We know what the fish do. We know how they behave. But go down somewhere, show y'all the process of...
Yeah,
all new how to pick an area apart. You're going to see us throwing some live bait, throwing some bigger lures that we don't normally throw, and doing things like that. And it's going to be we're going to have to put in some effort. We're going to have to figure them out. We're going to have to change
have to work a little bit.
Approaches, some gear. We're going to have to really, and we'll show y'all all that. I mean, it's going to be a process of, hey, we're probably going to find fish on the first day, but they're probably not going to be as good as we want, or where we want, or
you
what
never
we
know.
want.
I mean, you might stumble onto something.
We might. And we might just 100% get lucky. I think the last time I was in South Padre, we had a little bit of information, stumbled straight into them, stayed there for the next 5 days in that little zone. We were catching 28, 29-inch trout at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We would just leave out after lunch at 1, go out, catch 28, 29-inch trout, and then come back. And we had people that never fish with us, catching 28, 29-inch trout middle of the day. It's just how it worked out that trip. So
yeah, I'm gonna show you how we pack up all of our stuff to head down there. Cause that is going to be interesting.
Might as well just take the whole trailer with you.
the whole boat barn's going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a thing because we're not gear junkies in that we have so much gear, but we're very scientific about how we do things. So making sure we have every single thing that we want to roll in there with, having it all ready, having it all prepared, because we don't know what scenario we're going to roll into. Are we going offshore for cobia? Are we going to fish for red drum at the jetties? Are we going back somewhere for snook? I mean, you're talking about...
Based on the weather right now, I don't know if you're going to get offshore. I was looking at it yesterday.
It goes back and forth.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a weird place. We're going to tuck up by the jetties, try to catch tarpon.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know one thing. You're taking stuff to wade fish. You're taking stuff to live bait fish. You're taking stuff to fish out deep and then even deeper.
Yep.
Are we taking waders?
Yeah. I even started looking at heeks and little bumps out there and stuff, and started thinking about where you put a sword rod on the boat again. And
You gotta go a decent ways though.
it's 51 miles.
Oh, we done that last time.
Yeah, it's 51 miles.
I don't look at the bottom over there. Get to the.
They have something that looks
Right.
just like Jim's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 51 and a half down there. There ain't very many people that swordfish down there.
No, I was gonna say, growing up down there, that's what I was rolling through my memory bank going, I don't remember anybody talking
Dude,
about
when you were
swordfish.
growing up
But
down there, they were using 12-strand cloths.
Well, that's what I was about to say though. The daytime swordfishing didn't take off until well after. So that area, I don't know how much that's been explored. I mean, we know there's some folks doing swordfishing.
Kyler does it.
Out of Mansfield.
Kyler goes out of South Padre and does it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're coming north. I don't know if they're going straight out.
Yeah,
I'm going to go down there with everything.
We've talked about that though too. Like, where
I'm
are these
excited
people?
to catch it.
There's some great opportunities to just go down there because I don't have anything set in my mind. That's the coolest part to me is I'm like,
I'm just gonna show up and fish.
I'm going to show up and fish. I'm going to fish for whatever's there. I mean, I got some goals in my mind, but
Yeah.
I don't care how we do it. I'm not going to tell Kaylee her first tarpon ever needs to be on a lure and that's the only way to do it. And look, she's catching on live bait. I don't care. Get her on a fish and we'll go from there. She catches a few. Hey,
I'm so bad at live bait fishing.
Why? You don't have to do anything.
And that's the problem.
she's not bad at live bait fishing. It just makes me want to jump out of the boat in the water.
No.
It's a very small boat to be stuck on.
ADHD.
Because like every time I see like a tick, even if it's just a fish moving, tick, I'm like, oh, it's a fish.
You have to take the swordfish approach. Yeah, that'll beat it. Wait for the rod to bend over.
I need my beanbag then.
Yeah.
We're running like 5 minutes. Everything in South Padre is so close. It's crazy.
That's funny.
I mean, everything's close in South Padre.
I'm excited.
Even if you run to the back of South Bay, it's not that far.
Like I said, yeah.
I mean, you're talking to someone. We start like in one bay system and end up like 2 bay systems over.
Yeah.
I mean, everything.
Most of my
is
experience down there was always wade fishing because I was doing
Yeah.
the poor man's thing, and I didn't have a boat, so we drove somewhere.
They didn't have kayaks back then. Y'all just
Yeah.
had canoes.
Yeah, we had inner tubes.
You had inner tubes. You were paddling around.
Now they make kayaks with motors on them.
Yeah.
Some of the new kayaks are kind of cool. Like I've looked at some of them, been like, man, I wonder where I could get with that.
We're going to do lure fantasy draft. Lure fantasy wade fishing. Lure, I don't know, comment the name down below.
Lure fantasy draft. Fantasy lure
We're
draft.
going to have,
It's not really a fantasy though, because you're actually
How many-
picking.
Fantasy fishing draft?
oh, there you go.
No, but
Because
the
it's
problem
not-
is it's not really fantasy because
Yeah.
you're holding them in your hands.
Well, it'd still be fantasy fishing. No,
No, because we're still
because
fishing.
there's still
We're gonna do a lure
We're doing
draft.
a lure draft.
So we were in the dove field. It was a good idea, whoever had it. But what we ended up deciding is bringing 11 lures each to a table, setting them all out, and you all get one pick at a time, so you get 11 picks for lures.
Or should we? I don't know.
We talked about cutting it down to 6 and being
Well,
annoying.
chances are we're all going to bring the same lure. So probably what we should just do
No,
is
because I'm going to bring some curveballs.
Yeah.
No, we're all gonna vlog ourselves going into.
Wait till
the
one of
store.
y'all ends up with a
And
1980
picking
triple
all these
jointed.
Oh, that'll be the one that just tears it up.
Kills 'em.
They haven't seen it in forever. They're like, you know, man, I've never seen that one before. I'm gonna schwack that thing.
I haven't seen that since I was born. I remember being a little fry. There's guys who only throw that stuff.
Well, I almost am a little bit of a believer in like bring back old lures every so often because I think the fish get used to seeing all the same things. They're like, I'm like.
I think one of the
I haven't
ones
seen
I'm
that
gonna
before.
bring is the ones that Ralph was showing us in Roy's the other day. That has like the different tails. Like all 3 different tails are on the lure, so you have to decide. Like you pick off whatever you don't want.
But that leaves people too many options.
I haven't seen those.
You haven't seen those?
Oh, I'm gonna.
Can you throw it with all 3 tails on at the same time?
I don't know.
I'm gonna bring some duds, like some straight duds, like just stuff out of left field. Like one of y'all's ended up with like an M17 that's like this big.
Well, it's a little.
And then
Crappie
is
Oh,
that,
don't worry. I'm telling you right now. I'm bringing a double trout speck killer rig.
is that what we have
I haven't seen
to
one of
fish
those in a
with
while.
for the rest of blade fishing season?
No, it's one weekend. It's 2 days of fishing.
Just one weekend.
But we have a whole team though, right? So how many can we put into play?
That's what I was saying. If you bring 6 lures, you're gonna end up with 6 lures. But you're picking from other people's stuff. So you put 6 on the table. Everyone puts 6 on the table. And then you decide a draft order. You pick one at a time off the table. So you're not ending up with what you brought.
And then you have to end up with 6.
Well, you might end up with one thing you brought.
Yeah, if you're smart, you pick
You have to
one.
end up
good
with
thing.
6 lures. 6 lure packs at the end.
Yeah,
Everybody
the
has
problem
6.
is I feel like I'm going to be targeted in this somehow. But somebody's getting a popping cork and a
I
spec
got the
rig.
strategy.
A popping cork and a spec rig.
Well, I thought it was only lures. You can't do a whole rig.
That's a lure.
You
Is
can
it?
Throw, yeah, you can throw lures under
Yeah.
the popping cork.
Whoa,
Yeah, if the
whoa,
popping
whoa,
cork
whoa,
is
whoa.
tied to the lures, you're good.
Yeah.
But you can only use that spec rig on that
Anyways,
popping cork. You can't put any other lures underneath it.
Comment down below and tell us what other rules we should implement.
Wow, this is gonna get interesting.
It will be very interesting.
It's going to be a frustrating weekend.
Could be.
Let us know what
If you're
you think.
smart, you look at what the weather is before and you figure out what you need. The good thing is, I'll know where we're fishing.
Well, see,
Because I drive the boat.
Well, but I think now we have to have the draft, and then it's not. Then it's a random weekend, and we go game on.
That's a good idea.
We'll still have the heads up because Katie and Nick have to be able to go. So we'll still know what weekend it is. Do it that first weekend of December.
Oh gosh.
There's always a front.
Right after Thanksgiving.
No, not after Thanksgiving because Ryan's not going to be here.
No, I'm saying the weekend of Thanksgiving is when the front is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every single year.
I have to think on that level more.
We have a frustrating weekend.
I'm gonna go on Amazon and just pick out some random lures.
Huh?
So I'm just gonna go on Amazon and pick out some random lures.
Give somebody like an 8-ounce NLB lure. It's
Yeah.
like this big.
I'm
They
gonna-
catch a monster trout.
Make
on
somebody use those big aim fishing lures.
Can we modify the lure?
it. Yeah, once it's in your possession, you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah, you can do whatever you want with it after it's in your
If you have
possession.
any wacky lures you recommend, comment them below.
I'll bring somebody a whopper plopper. How long has it been since you've seen a whopper plopper?
I'll bring a jitterbug.
Dude, have you seen the videos? Hold up, I was thinking about whopper plopper. Have you seen the videos of the guys that sit in the tubes in England with the whopper ploppers and they catch those Wells catfish?
No, I have not.
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to look
Oh, they sit in the inner tube with little fins on their feet, and they catch like 10-foot Wells catfish. And they throw these whopper ploppers, and the whopper plopper is like 5 feet from them, and this Wells catfish comes up and misses it. They start just dragging it around in circles around. I'm like, what if that thing bites your foot?
I think it'll eat you.
Catfish? Those catfish bite?
They're big.
They're massive. They're like 10 feet long.
They'll like cut your foot off?
They would hurt.
Like leave a bruise?
It would mess you up.
I've seen some video of those.
Those Wells catfish.
Yeah, those Wells catfish.
Look up the fishing in the inner tube with the whopper ploppers. Y'all want like to see some crazy stuff. All the videos are usually pretty short because apparently it's boring to fish for Wells catfish. They're throwing massive bait casters and they lob this big old whopper plopper and it goes and then the Wells catfish just blows up.
With the name Whopper Plopper, that's a good one.
Somebody in 1961 when they were invented. You know what color went away? It's kind of sad, but like you saw it all the time. Like old fishing magazines, old lure collectors. The redhead white bodies. That was like a staple.
It's still in the offshore.
Yeah, but like inshore.
Yeah,
like
inshore.
all the spec guys.
You see it here and there.
I keep 1 or 2 in the box. I like them, but like that used to be the color.
Oh yeah.
That was like, and then like wooden topwaters. Like they didn't have rattles in them or nothing.
I think I might have a few wooden topwaters.
It'd be cool to find like a bunch of old lures and fish with them for a full day.
Yeah, it goes with my theory. Like they haven't seen those lures in forever, so
I wouldn't know how to work them. My grandfather used to have a bunch of that stuff in a bucket, and he just let it rot.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to have all that stuff hanging. Like there's people who just collect old lures. Like they're avid fishermen. They fish, but they collect old lures. Like they go to yard sales and stuff.
You got to get on those estate sales and like see where people are selling the old stuff.
Yeah, there's some cool old stuff out there. It's just cool to see how they used to. Like I have a buddy that has a couple of the old big like marlin reels with like 18 strand cotton line and stuff.
Wire line. They used to use wire line.
They still use that stuff.
Yeah, in Bahamas too.
Yeah, they troll for wahoo with it. It's crazy. What's the benefit to that? Nowadays we have weights and everything. I mean, why do people still use that?
I don't know. I saw a video not too long ago with the guy swear by wire line in Bahamas.
But why?
I don't know. I'm not up to speed on that.
Because like the last time I went to Hawaii, they were using it.
I would love to go to Hawaii.
I mean, they had like 3 reels loaded with cable.
Really?
Just kidding. No. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's awful.
He just told me it's overrated.
It's awful. It's not fun at all.
I need to go see Joe.
Joe Thrasher.
Joe Thrasher.
It's the best last name for a fishing captain ever. Thrasher.
I
don't know, guys. We got a lot of things coming up.
Yeah,
we're rolling into the winter season.
That's where I was going to go with it. Because we're rolling into the winter season.
Yeah.
So,
monster speckled
expecting
trout.
that first cold front to come in Thanksgiving. That's your bet.
Yeah.
Always.
No, we're going into big speckled trout. Hopefully some wahoo. But the time
we got to do better this wahoo season.
Catch swordfish.
It can only be
Deep drop.
up from where we've been though. So
yeah, it can't get any worse. We some new tactics for wahoo. Gonna talk with a lot more people. Get better at that game. We can only catch wahoo on my boat.
Catch a monster
I
speckled
caught one
trout.
on my boat. That was a summer wahoo.
There's a summer wahoo. Doesn't count.
But what's weird is the last couple of wahoo seasons
Have been bad.
it's not even kingfisher for us. Everybody else has got wahoo. We
Those
just overthought it, I think.
those big snapper come into that spot even bigger than what we were catching.
Yeah, get on some big snaps.
Some big snaps.
You'll see
And then
some of that.
the big speckled trout. But I mean, to kind of start off our fall season, I mean, we've been doing a lot of different stuff. Been cool to kind of get out, have a chance at some state snapper before we get real into the speckled trout. It's going to be nice to go down to South Padre and kind of knock some other stuff off the list and show y'all that approach too. Y'all, I think there's a misconception. We hear it all the time. Man, y'all always do really good in Baffin. Let's go see if we can do good somewhere else. We know that bay system. We know those fish. Let's see if we can go do something else. Let's go see if we can show y'all our approach to doing something new that we don't normally do. We can go do that, go knock a couple other things off.
Yeah.
Got some duck hunting coming up, I'm sure. I mean, just on the phone during our little break
Yeah,
with
we need
Nick.
some cold weather for ducks to come in too.
Yeah.
But and I think that's an important point out too that you just said too. We're showing up for all our films are for a 1 day or 2 day. We don't compile 5, 6, 7 days of fishing together and go.
No.
Oh, look what we did. It's
1 day. It's
show
raw.
up, get it done, and go.
Yeah,
So,
and we fish. I mean, we're lucky. We get to fish a little bit more than some people. You know, we get to fish a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. But for the most part, I mean, we don't fish all week. We don't.
Yeah.
The weather's always changing. If you only fish weekends, you're not there for when the weather changed on Thursday, and you can start
Right.
figuring them out.
Right.
So it's a lot of raw, uncut, and that gives us the ability, I think, to, hey, I'm going to go down to South Padre for a week. I'm going to go find fish. It's not an option to me. We are going to go find fish. We're going to be successful. It's just showing y'all the process, how we make that move and how we become successful, what we're bringing, why we're bringing this just in case, what we're going to go get, what we're not going to get, and all the moves that it takes to go to somewhere that's hundreds of miles different and go be successful, go target and attack something else that we don't normally do. And at the same time, it's the perfect time of the year to do it. The speckled trout haven't changed. They haven't really made their switch over yet. They're starting to put on some weight, but not really. Crank it out, get down with it, do what we need to. And in a couple more videos, y'all are going to see us back in Baffin and waders.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be getting after them this year. It's how it's going to go. So
Looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
yeah, guys, y'all just keep following along. Watch share what we're doing.
Throw in the comments what you guys want us to talk about, what you want to see, what you like, what you don't like, and keep it going. We're trying to get better, trying to do things better, and entertain you guys at the same time and help you guys learn.
But the good thing too is, I think, as far as like, these are conversations we have all the time.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, this is nonstop with us. This is how our brains work. This is how we function. This is what we thrive off of. This is what we love to do. So just trying to take y'all along for the ride with us and try to get better. We normally wouldn't explain things this much or go into certain depths because me and you already know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
She's well caught up into what we're talking about.
Katie's been providing some knowledge lately, though. A couple of just big brain things.
Some big brain.
It's actually a blonde thing. She's just saying things out loud that have to, and she's thinking out loud.
But it's worked. But
It has worked. She seems like she's really got it together.
got it.
I do. Well, I don't got it all together.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time on the
On the water, in person.
water, in the podcast, and
Yep.
everywhere else.
Guys, SaltyGillz.
Come get some.